Fernando, thank you everybody for being here. I feel very honored that all of you have taken the time to join us in Cartagena. And I feel very excited about these next couple of days. As you have been able to see already, we are really hoping to have an interactive 2 days where everybody talks to everybody, where you are able to share your expertise, your frustrations, your progress, learning, and experience. And that is what PMI is about. As what was said before, PMI is about partnership, is about knowledge, and is about engaging with each of the PMI countries and many more, and supporting them in implementation of carbon pricing and international carbon markets. So we are thrilled to have these couple of days ahead of us. You're not going to hear from us a lot, and that was done on purpose, but we're all here, and you know us, because we want to hear from each one of you, and we want you to talk to each other. The goal is to break barriers and to have the shy people in the room become less shy. This is a safe space. There's no silly questions. There's really no bad questions. We're all here to learn from each other. So that's what we encourage you to do, to engage in conversations, to have coffee breaks, to interact with one another, so that we can keep building this PMI community that I recently joined and that I'm so proud of. So this is the idea. Have people connect with each other, and we're here just to help and support that connection. I'm going to take a few minutes to share with all of you the progress you have made and the programs we have been able to make thanks to you this last year. So what we call as fiscal year 24 in the World Bank, our fiscal year goes from end of June to end of June. So just a few highlights on what we have been busy on last year, and the presentation will be shared with you right after the event. And I guess I need to do this myself, but I don't know. ¿A dónde tengo que apuntar? ¿Cómo funciona? Gracias. I'm really bad technologically. Oh, there you go. Lo encontré. Sí, es este, ¿no? Muchísimas gracias, muy amable. So, as most of you know, PMI is composed or includes 4 different pillars. What we call the Country Engagement Program, which is the program that supports country engagement and building capacity building in the countries. What we are now calling Global Knowledge Program, which is our technical knowledge program, innovation, and advocacy, outreach, and partnerships. Country engagement is basically providing support to all of our PMI countries on their work, either on carbon pricing or on international carbon markets. We provide advice, we provide support, we provide grants, capacity building, under our country engagement program. The Global Knowledge Program, or pillar, there is the pillar. Oh, give me a second. The country engagement program is led by Marcos, who most of you know very well. And he's here, of course, and we can get into many more details if you wish to. I'm just giving you the very broad picture in the interest of time. The Global Knowledge pillar is led by Harry. I'm not sure where Harry is sitting, but in the back, Most of you know Harry as well. The Global Knowledge Program includes our flagships on state and trends of carbon pricing that was recently published, 2024 in May. It was launched in Florence, and you have access to the state and trends through the QR on your table. So for those of you who didn't raise their hands when Jennifer asked, you can have a look at the state and trends of carbon pricing right now. It's on your QR. We also launched, as Hania mentioned, the state and trends of carbon pricing for the first time during COP, and we are going to launch it again for the next COP. And we also revamped the carbon pricing dashboard, and if you haven't looked at it, you can also access it through the QR. It's a really, really impressive tool where you can see every country in the world that is implementing a carbon pricing instrument, which sector it covers. It's very interactive. I really, really encourage you to take a look. And if you have any questions or comments, please let us know. The Global Knowledge Program also publishes reports on specific topics where we have found that there may be a gap. So very technical reports. We will be publishing in September 2 reports, and I'll get to that in a second. And of course, the Global Knowledge Program is also the program where we host learning and knowledge, such as the Global Knowledge Forum that we host on an annual basis. The other pillar is what we call the innovation pillar, that is focusing on catalyzing carbon markets, international carbon markets, and where we are innovating and prototyping certain tools that could then be used in country programs. And one clear example, and we will talk about it during these 2 days, is the work on infrastructure, on the work we're doing on registries, on MRVs, that was launched and prototyped under the innovation program and is now being implemented in a number of countries. And finally, the other very, very important pillar in PMI is advocacy, outreach, and partnerships, where is the pillar led by Peter. Innovation is led by Sandia. I'm not sure where she's sitting either, but she's in the room. Oh, in the back as well. So Sandia is leading the innovation pillar, and the last pillar under PMI is advocacy, outreach, and partnerships, that is led by Peter, who's unfortunately not here with us, but he's going to be connected later in case any of you has also any questions, where we're organizing Innovate for Climate, which I understand most of you may be familiar with, which is a gathering on carbon pricing and carbon markets that this year will take place in Berlin from September 9 to September 11th. And we are co-organizing with our friends from ICAP and AITA, and is being also hosted thanks to Germany and Spain this year. We have also been very active in the regional climate weeks that we organized together with UNFCCC. And let me get a little bit more into the details. On country engagement, this gives you an idea of the 37 countries we are now working on in PMI. And I'm going to take a moment to ask representatives from the countries that are here with us just to stand up for a second so that everybody can recognize which countries are represented here. so then you can connect. And I'm going to do it in alphabetical order just because that's the list I have. And I know Safira from Belize should be here with us. If you can stand up. Thank you, Safira. Chimi from Bhutan. Thank you, Chimi. Nice to see you. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pronounce your names right. If I'm not, please correct me. Leti Hogolnolo from Botswana. Thank you. How do you say your name? Leto Honolo. Very nice to see you. Very nice to meet you. Kenelwe from Botswana too. How do you pronounce your name? Kenelwe. Very nice to meet you. Beatriz from Brazil. Isabel from Chile. Isabel Rojas. Juan Pedro from Chile. Jorge from Chile. Chunling from China. Very nice to meet you. Thank you. Chengang from China. Very nice to meet you. Adriana from Colombia. Angela from Colombia. Maria Julieta from Colombia. Marco from Colombia. Andrés. No, Camilo, perdona. From Colombia as well? Camilo, no? And Daniela from Colombia too. Thank you. Thank you for hosting us. They have a bigger delegation because they are hosts. So if anybody has any questions on Colombia and what they're doing, there's a big representation. Thank you again. Gusti from Indonesia. Do you go by Gusti? Gusti, very nice to meet you, to see you again. Wawan from Indonesia. Rustam from Kazakhstan. Good to have you. Dana from Kazakhstan. Very nice to have you too. Nirwan from Malaysia. Nor from Malaysia. Do you go by Nor? Yes. Wonderful. Tamara from Montenegro. Nice to see you. And Ranko from Montenegro. Marta from Panama. Ana Carolina from Panama. Billy from Papua New Guinea. Nice to see you, Billy. Makajungu from Tanzania. Very nice to meet you too. And Salum from Tanzania. Good to see you. And Abud Hassan from Tanzania. I'm starting to feel like an elementary school teacher here. He's not here, wait a minute. Chonticha from Thailand. Khan from Turkey. Ugur from Turkey. Hakwan from Vietnam. Very nice. So let me also put on the spot our donors, since they're here, and you should all talk to each other. Judy from Canada, and Jackie from Canada. Dirk from Germany. Rachel from Germany. Maiko from Japan. Sigrid from Norway. Teresa from Spain. Parag from the UK? And Lee from the UK. Oh, Dexter. Dexter from the UK. Sébastien from the EU Commission. And Serena from the EU Commission? She's not here. Okay. I'll mark that. Absent. And since we're here and we're already wasting so much time, which I think is essential so that you know who you are, let me quickly go over our knowledge partners that are also joining us today. So we have Philippe Grégoire from Quebec, Stefano from ICAP, Santiago from ICAP as well, Kazu from Article 6, and Hayato from Article 6, Ivan from GGGI, and I'm not sure who's here from AITA. I haven't seen Dirk. They're pretty busy with their own event. I can see Katie. You want to stand up? Thanks, Katie. Excellent, thank you. And there's Andrea? Yes. Andrea Bonzano, also from AITA. So now you have no excuse not to mingle, not to talk to each other. It's impressive, I must admit, now going through the list, how far away people have come to join us. So thank you so much. 32 PMI countries since last year, of which 22 domestic carbon pricing and 22 international carbon markets. As you can guess, we're working with many countries on both carbon pricing and international carbon markets. 25 countries that we are supporting on carbon market infrastructure. What we have done since last year, out of the 17 original PMI countries, 13 are already in the World Bank system. So we are ready to make 13 out of 17 countries operational from window 1 and window 2. Our 6 window 1 grant agreements have been signed. We are almost there with Vietnam, hopefully. Almost there with China. It's looking very good. We should be able to sign that very, very shortly. 7 of our window 2 programs are also operational. And we are restructuring the scope with Mexico, who unfortunately is not here, but it's mainly because of the political elections, of the change of government. But we are seeing how we can really work with them and restructure. And we have been having really great conversations with our friends from Botswana to also restructure the program from what was initially scoped. Global knowledge, as briefly mentioned, we have been working on data analysis and market trends. Please, again, take a look at the publications. They're really, really worth it. We have been working on focused guidebooks, and we are working on knowledge academies and learning. On carbon pricing in the power sector, we have just finished our report. We're making it very, very beautiful and pretty so that we can publish it early September by I4C. Same thing, the political economy of carbon pricing. The report is finished. We got comments from many of you. Thank you so much for that. And it should also be published at I4C. We are finalizing a report on carbon pricing and climate policy mix that will be also published shortly. And we are working on 2 new reports, one on future-proof of MRV systems, in particular in its compatibility with instruments like CBAM, and we have launched a working group so that this work is also going to be conducted jointly with other partners and those donors that are interested and knowledge partners, and then we will identify PMI countries that would be interested in joining the conversation before the report is published, and we're also working on carbon pricing and International Maritime Organization. We hope to finalize these 2 reports the next fiscal year. And as you can see, these reports, sorry. These reports are not something we are doing on our own at headquarters, just without talking to anybody. Every single report is the product of knowledge sharing and collaboration with our knowledge partners. On learning and knowledge academies, one of the very important initiatives that was launched, I want to say last week, but by the World Bank, is what we are calling the World Bank Academy. The World Bank Academy is being launched so that we can help share knowledge with all of our client countries. And we're also very grateful. Pascal from Climate Change Group has joined us these 2 days because he's supporting us on how to make sure that everything we do on carbon pricing and carbon markets, we could also make it part of the World Bank Academy. So we're hoping to launch, it's very ambitious, but we are hoping to launch what we are calling the Carbon Pricing and Carbon Market Academy, which is part of this World Bank initiative, so that we can start producing e-learning modules, we can start producing webinars on carbon markets. What is it? Carbon pricing, carbon taxes, ETS. So that's a huge, ambitious effort that we are going to be working on extensively next year, taking advantage. That is also an important initiative at the World Bank. We have already produced Carbon Markets 101 internal webinars that were hugely attended by our colleagues at the World Bank. As part of Carbon Markets 101, we produced Carbon Market Infrastructure 101 and 102, Climate Finance 101. So we're going to take all of those webinars and we're going to polish them, and then we are going to make them available to everybody. And we have participated in numerous virtual, presential, regional events representing PMI or representing climate change from the World Bank. On innovation, it was already very clearly mentioned by Hania, by Jennifer, given, again, the initiative launched by the World Bank President on the World Bank Group Engagement Roadmap for carbon markets. We are also making sure that PMI is able to support that effort. And we are helping convene the stakeholders of the ecosystem in the voluntary carbon market and international carbon market. We are also supporting produce some guidebooks, some guidelines to bring a little bit of certainty and transparency to the voluntary carbon markets. And that work is being done in the innovation pillar, is part of the innovation pillar of the PMI. And the innovation pillar, we talk about it as the work we do on supply, where we help our client countries with methodologies, with MRV, so that supply of carbon credits is of high integrity, high quality. We help on infrastructure, building infrastructure and accessing infrastructure. We help on demand. We're working on seeing and what demand is out there in order to be able to match the supply that we are working on. And then we're working on enabling the environment. So working with the financial regulators, another piece of work that we're doing is convening the different stakeholders as part of the Climate Market Club or the Carbon Action Forum to hear the different views and see where there are gaps that we should be in a position to fill or work with other knowledge partners to fill it together. On the carbon market infrastructure engagement, you will also see that we are getting busier and busier on helping countries navigate what their needs may be. And Gemma is with us, and I do invite you all to stay tomorrow at the end of the Global Knowledge Forum. There is going to be a specific session on infrastructure where you will be able to see and get more practical about the different registries that are out there and what may work better for you. Climate Action Data Trust, which was also prototype under the innovation window, became a joint venture with AITA and the Singapore government and is also scaling up. There's going to be a presentation on CAT Trust as well tomorrow. And I just briefly wanted to mention, we launched the Carbon Action Forum at COP next year. The Carbon Action Forum is bringing together buyers from developing countries to discuss gaps that may be in the system, in the ecosystem, so we can see how we can better accommodate those. And the Climate Market Club that many of you are familiar with. For the last 2 years, we have been convening virtual meetings, including 15 country governments, to discuss different issues, to see where the gaps were. And what we have been doing through the Climate Market Club is publish approach papers on Article 6 that could then be used by country governments, by practitioners, as a guide. And again, in the QR code, you can see all the approach papers that have been published under the Climate Market Club. And finally, on advocacy and outreach, we are preparing the next I4C, which is, again, going to be held in Berlin. We have been working on regional climate weeks that took place in Asia, MENA, LAC last year. That was an incredible amount of work for PMI, but they were all very successful. Unfortunately, Panama ended up being virtual for us, at least at the bank, but still that was a really, really successful event. We are vamping up the communication and visibility plan for PMI, and we are still working with CPLC, the Carbon Pricing and Leadership Coalition, that has been a little bit on standby for the last couple of years, and that we hope we are going to be able to revamp at least as a forum to hear from the private sector. So we're still figuring out how to work on CPLC. And the other thing that we have done this year is reach out to all of our knowledge and technical partners to say, we cannot do this together. This is very fragmented. Let's work together. Let's take a look at each country. Let's see what you are doing. Let's see what we are doing. And let's make sure we together provide the best support we can to countries. And we also have a session later on tomorrow with all of our knowledge partners to hear what they're up to, also to hear from you, from our PMI countries, what's working, what's not, whether you're getting, conflicted advice, whether support makes sense, whether it doesn't make sense, if we're doing things right or if we're doing things wrong. So that's an effort we're very, very hopeful to, because whatever conversation we can facilitate is going to be very helpful given the fragmentation that we're seeing at the moment. And that's it from me at this point. Thank you all for your support. Thank you very much for being here. You will have the presentation. I just wanted to quickly show you that in this presentation, you're going to have more details on each PMI country. So you will see exactly what everybody else is doing, including the window 1 countries that, as you know, are the ones that are receiving implementation support, our window 2 PMI countries, but more and more window 3, where last year we only had a couple of countries that we were supporting through small grants, very targeted support, and the demand is exploding. So we are very happy to provide support to many more countries, and we're very happy to have many of the countries that are benefiting from small grants here today, because we're hoping that the small grants are just a stepping stone to provide more support. And Brazil is a very clear example where we are very excited we were able to re-engage with Brazil with a small grant, but we're hoping that as things get clear and the ETS goes further, we are going to be able to support Brazil much, much more. Bhutan is also a very clear example with all the work we're doing with infrastructure. We're hoping to have, again, much more support. Very excited about Belize, where the very small grant provided by PMI has leveraged more money from other facilities. And I could go on every single country, but going forward, we do see small grant targeted support as a very strategic way to start a conversation, to get political engagement from the countries, and to use that as a stepping stone for a long-term engagement and support from PMI. So thank you very much to all of you. And I think this is us. You know where to find us. Just look for us, ask us questions, put us in difficult positions. We're here for that. And please take advantage of the coffee break and keep the conversation on your drawing, on the PMI, or just get to know each other better. Thank you so much.
Palabra.